On. All right, we're live outside of the Hilton in Midtown. I think we're on city property, so we should be good. But thank you for joining us. It's a crazy election, I gotta tell you. All day today, and a great job by Dennis and Scott, by the way. Guys deserve a lot of credit. It is a beautiful night here for November 8th, and it's been a long 16 months of this election. But you know what we're looking at right now is Florida is going to be a deciding factor. Trump loses Florida, a lot of people are saying, well, it's going to be over, unless Trump turns some blue states red. So here's the deal. It is going back and forth. And right now, I think we're getting some latest numbers, but obviously way too close to call. We may not hear about Florida for a long time. There are 29 electoral votes, and the latest from what I saw is that Trump was leading 49-48. But again, that's going back and forth and way too close. There in Florida. Ohio's been looking good for Trump, but he's got to win. No Republican president has become president unless they win Ohio, so that is key as well. He is winning big time in Georgia, has about 70 to 20% from what I saw, and that is important because a lot of people said, well, you know what, Georgia, because Trump and it's a different race, and Trump's not going to win as any Republican would in Georgia. Well, I think we could put that to rest. Obviously not projected there to win quite yet, but 75 to 25 about is where he's leading in Georgia. And then, you look at the electoral map. So New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes there, he's leading. And if he was to win in New Hampshire, I'll tell you the reason why. Because I've been to New Hampshire, covered the primaries there. It's because people are sick of the drug epidemic there. Listen, I'll tell you a personal story. I was there in New Hampshire in February for the second primary. First primary, second, the primary caucus season, right after Iowa. And I actually saw someone inject themselves with heroin. It was an eye-opening experience, and I think Mr. Trump has resonated with people in New Hampshire because of that. And, people say, well, what will a wall do? It's funny because the wall, when you look at the border, they seize pounds and pounds, thousands of pounds of heroin and other opioids down there at the border each year. And without a secure border, these drugs are coming in, and they're going to places like New Hampshire where there is a rampant epidemic there, and it's really hurting our youth. So if Donald Trump went to New Hampshire, I think it's solely because of the drug problem in New Hampshire, which is rampant there. That's 4 electoral votes. He has to win New Hampshire, in my opinion. That's a big swing state. Now, also, you look at a place like Maine. One of 2 states, Maine and Nebraska, are 1 of 2 states that actually are not winner take all. They divvy up the electorals by congressional district. Trump could very well win Congressional District 2 in Maine. And then you look at other places. New Mexico, Trump's been there a few times recently. Colorado. And I mentioned before, Michigan is a place where it's very possible. He's been talking about, Ford announcing that they are sending jobs down to Mexico. And Trump has been hammering away of taking backer jobs into the country, and that resonates in places like Detroit. And then in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I talked to someone there who said there's so much enthusiasm. And you see here, there's so much enthusiasm for Trump. And, the police force, I gotta give them credit. They do a spectacular job, the NYPD. I took a picture with them earlier, put it on my Instagram. Florida up 3, thanks, Scott. So Florida, Trump is up 3 there. And I gotta tell you, though, the NYPD and their counterterrorism unit needs a lot of credit. They've done a fantastic job securing this place. Secret Service. I was in Trump Tower today. They had the block closed down. I could barely get in there. Even though, I said I'm like Carousso, I should be able to get in, but, I did get in. Had a very good lunch there. But they are securing us. And here's the deal. When I went up to NYPD and said, thank you for protecting us. Thank you for keeping us safe, because with this divided country that we're in right now, the country is at a place where people don't feel safe. We don't feel safer than we were 8 years ago. And when I thank the police and say, well, we appreciate your support because we don't feel that. And really good for for Trump's campaign is the support of the police. Just getting word that Ohio, Trump leads there up 4, and that's where the polls are showing. But let's look at the electoral map. So this is what I have right here. And there are about 13, 14 states we're keeping an eye on. And we have Iowa is another place where, Trump has done well there, but we'll see. It's a toss-up. South Carolina, Trump is leading from the latest numbers I saw. North Carolina is interesting because if Trump takes, think of it this way, if Trump takes North Carolina and takes Florida, he's got to win Florida, and he makes a blue state red, say Michigan, where he takes, let's say, well, he gets New Hampshire, it's going to be key, but if he gets Michigan or Minnesota, then he has a very good chance of winning. That is all up in the air, obviously. Hillary Clinton is more defined path, but here's where things went wrong for Hillary Clinton's campaign. She has done things illegally. It is completely her fault for anyone to say that the FBI, and I understand they really politicized themselves and got into this election, but that was back in July. So if you were unhappy with Jim Comey's announcement in July that Hillary Clinton will not be, or that they ended their investigation there, which they really didn't, but they, said that they weren't going to pursue charges, that no reasonable prosecutor would take the case. If you were unhappy with that, and were unhappy with the latest on October 28th, with Comey's announcement that they would reopen the investigation, then fine. But you can't have it both ways, and that's where people go wrong. Is that they say, well, Jim Comey's an honorable guy, and and he said back in July that Hillary Clinton is not a criminal. If you believe that, that's fine if you believe that then. But then, if you change your mind and all of a sudden October 28th, how could Comey do this? He injected himself into politics. Well, you just can't have it both ways. Because once you inject yourself into the political realm in such a political nation right now, then you kind of have to change the record. Now, let's set the record straight. Hillary Clinton sent or received 110 classified emails, proven by the FBI. WikiLeaks tells us that Hillary Clinton has knowingly did so. It kind of shows intent that the campaign said this server is something that we shouldn't have. So, people go to the polls today, and you had a prominent Democrat, Doug Schoen, who is a political pundit, worked for Bill Clinton. He said, I can no longer support Hillary Clinton because of the fact that the FBI has continued to investigate her, not just for using an illegal private email server and putting our national security at risk, but also for the Clinton Foundation. We know that she has taken money from countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, the UAE. Now, Saudi Arabia, Hillary Clinton says that she is championing women's rights. People are going to the polls today saying, well, Saudi Arabia, they practically enslave women. They basically tell women when to leave the house if they can leave the house, when to drive if they can drive, how to dress. And they also persecute Christians and Jews, and they kill homosexuals. There's a death penalty for being gay. And when you have someone that takes money from them, and then 50% of her meetings are with private donors of the Clinton Foundation, and WikiLeaks reveals that she did give special access to, and was planning on giving a speech to for the King of Morocco, who she met with. It raises a lot of questions in the minds of the American voter. So, if Donald Trump wins tonight, it's very possible that's because of the non-establishment versus the establishment. From people I talk to, just regular folks who are not necessarily Republican, not necessarily Democrat, they're people who are sick of being tired of being told by elites that Hillary Clinton has in her camp, like Jay-Z and Beyonce, of how to vote. They're sick of being told that the country is kind of, we're at a place where it is, and we're not going to get better. Let's see, Clinton, New Hampshire is up 13. So Clinton has the lead in New Hampshire, where there are 4 electoral votes, a swing state there. But from people I talk to, they are sick of the corruption in politics. And so if Trump wins, it is the fact that people want change. Trump represents the change from the political establishment. He has run against the establishment. And you know what's interesting? I go back to that primary in New Hampshire in February, and people counted Trump out. They said, he was down the polls about 10 points. He was down the polls, and he ended up winning pretty decidedly. Clinton is up in Florida by 1. So these numbers are coming in. We will keep you posted. We're here at the Hilton in Midtown where Trump is in. Well, Trump's not here yet, but his surrogates, he has his private guests are inside in the ballroom. We went inside there. It is packed, as you can imagine, and it's just his supporters, and close friends. He's having a private party on Fifth Avenue at Trump Tower. It was buzzing earlier. I was there, and a lot of support. I had lunch there. I said to the waiter, I said, what are you thinking? And he said, I'm nervous, but I think that we have he told me he thinks that there's a corrupt media establishment that's in bed with the Clinton camp, which has been kind of revealed in WikiLeaks. And you're seeing that they're like John Horowitz at CNBC, who's really involved with the Clintons, seemingly. CNN were coming out today that they were sharing questions with the Clinton camp down in Brazil, who ended up resigning there. So there are a lot of questions about her integrity and the DNC's integrity and that of the establishment. But the waiter at Trump Tower basically told me, I knew Trump, he's been working there for 3 years. He said, I knew Donald Trump before he ran for president, always humble, always kind, always respectful, and he's the same person today. And he said, to me, that speaks a lot to Donald Trump's character. And, I talked to him for a little bit, the waiter at Trump Tower, and he said, listen, everyone has their flaws, but to me, he has much better character than Mrs. Clinton. So we'll see what the polls turn out tonight. Again, New Hampshire and Florida are tight, and the numbers are very volatile. We are keeping an eye on Minnesota with 10 electoral votes, and also Michigan with 16 electoral votes. But the path for Donald Trump is this. Florida must win. Ohio, he has to win. Well, he either has to win North Carolina or turn a blue state like Minnesota or Michigan, which is very possible. And he has to win the 2nd district in Maine. Again, they break up their congressional districts there. Ohio up 8 for Trump. So Trump has a good shot of winning Ohio. He's been looking good in the polls, if you believe the polls. And that's another question. We know Donald Trump has said the system is rigged against non-establishment candidates. And we'll see how that turns out tonight. But again, Trump has been successful, has had a successful business career. And on June 16, 2015, when he walked down that escalator at Trump Tower, nobody expected that he would make it this far. And he has. We're in a general election matchup. It's election day, November 8th, 2016, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. And whoever the president is will know probably, hopefully earlier than midnight, but probably around there. Whoever the president is, we're going to wake up and say, all right, we got to get together as a country. Donald Trump will either give a concession speech inside, or we'll give a victory speech. He's labeling it the Donald J. Trump victory party inside the Hilton. And when he arrives tonight, we'll see what the sentiment is. His plan, his contract that he put forth, contract with the American voters, similar to Newt Gingrich's contract with America in the 90s under President Bill Clinton, puts forth an agenda for a safer, stronger America. And you can see it right there in writing what Donald Trump's plan is to get the country back on track. A major issue is health care. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to take a pause here, come back. We're going to talk some of the issues of this campaign and why the voters are so angry in this election. It's establishment versus non-establishment. Right now, Florida, see back and forth. Ohio, Trump leads. New Hampshire, very tight as well. And we're watching the polls for you. Live on Facebook Live. We're outside Donald Trump's headquarters in Midtown Manhattan at the Hilton. I'm Carousso. We'll see you in a little bit.